RMJ Movie Reviews back again with this is I've taken a step back, guys, from YouTube for a little bit. Like I said, been going through some things and just been a little burned out. But I'm kind of jumping in here and there, and I'm gonna get back into the swing of thing, guys. Just got a lot going on, so bear with me. This is just kind of on the fly commentary about Terminator Dark Fate bombing at the box office. Everybody's it's splashed across the news. They're talking about it on all the YouTube channels and movie review channels. So I figured, what the heck, I'll throw in my 2 cents too. Okay, look. Not gonna go through the entire thing like I've said, but look, you guys know I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. I've said that in previous videos before, movies he's done. I'm old enough, 38 years old, to remember when there was just one Terminator movie, which I saw on regular TV back in the 80s. Obviously, I was too young to have seen it in the theater, but I remember it when it very first was on video, and and when it first aired on regular TV. I remember, and my father took me to see Terminator 2. Actually, I saw Terminator 2 3 times in the theater when it came out. Excuse me. My mother took me to see it first at the drive-in, and it was drive-in, folks. Remember those? And then I kind of conned my dad into taking me to go see it at Randall Mall, which was a very popular mall back in Cleveland that fell apart. It's been torn down for about a couple years now. And then I saw it again in Florida on vacation, I remember. So I saw Terminator 3 at the theater. I actually still to this day have never seen Salvation. I've seen pieces of it, a little bit here and there on TV, but not much of it. I saw Terminator Genesis. I mean, I've forgotten about it already. I only saw it once. I think it is up on my channel somewhere here. And I did see Terminator Dark Fate. I thought Terminator Dark Fate was okay. I thought it was okay. I'm going to kind of get into my little different opinions about what we see was this horrible opening box office weekend. But anyway, I hear everybody's been saying, oh, it's the best since Terminator 2. It's the best since Terminator 2. Look, James Cameron directed those first 2 movies. There ain't gonna be a best. I mean, and let me tell you, I knew way back when Rise of the Machines Terminator 3 came out, I knew Terminator 3 was trash before it came out. I knew it was, because James Cameron wasn't doing it. James Cameron was doing other things. And like when I saw little clips, because this was like the old days of the internet, but when I saw like little pictures of Arnold on the internet, I was like, this looks trash. And honestly, Terminator Rise of the Machines, if you shut your brain off, it's entertaining just to watch and laugh at. A little too goofy, but in comparison to first 2 films, it's trash. The parts that saw Salvation, it looked okay, but forgettable. But again, James Cameron did those first 2 movies, and Terminator 2 set the bar so high. The story was done with Terminator 2. So there really was nowhere else to go but just remanufacturing and going off on these weird tangents, trying to stretch a story that was done with the second film. So when people say it's the best since Terminator 2, it doesn't really mean much. Terminator 2 was the pinnacle. The pinnacle, it was the pinnacle of a sci-fi action story that was a companion to the original film. It was the pinnacle in that sense. And that the characters in the story was done. And it was the pinnacle in terms of action. You cannot beat what was done in Terminator 2. You cannot. There is only one person who I think can even touch James Cameron's level of practical in-camera action. And that would be Nobody Shoot Me. And I'm talking about shooting action, meaning cars going down the street. And that's Michael Bay. I'm not talking about his storytelling skills, but I mean in terms of shooting practical action sequences. Like when you look at some of the action sequences in The Rock, some of the action sequences, the car chase stuff in Bad Boys 2, and I'm not talking about the CGI stuff, but like particularly like that freeway car chase in Bad Boys 2. I think that's that's pretty on par with, if you take out the CGI element as far as the cars and the flipping and all that, that's pretty close to, um, although James Cameron's action sequences are a little bit more tight, not as many vehicles. I think in terms of just shooting real life craziness with action, that's pretty close to a lot of what James Cameron did in Terminator 2, like with the trucks and the motorcycle and all that, all practical action. And that's the other thing. And I've heard many other people make this comment. I mean, aside from just the story being done and there's nowhere else to go, and them just stretching it and stretching it and stretching it and stretching it and giving us a movie that nobody cared for and nobody asked for, because all of us who are hardcore Terminator fans from the very beginning, we didn't want these movies. We didn't ask for them. The younger generation, they'd only know the Terminator movies to be a joke, and they'd really only know Terminator Salvation or Terminator Genesis with Jai Courtney being Kyle Reese talking about as if. That's what they know. So you've got unsatisfied old school Terminator fans like me, older folks, and then you got the kids who only know Genesis and Salvation, which weren't too impressive because they look like every other little CGI fest, people flying through the airs and stuff. There ain't nothing new there. There's nothing spectacular. So there was nowhere for this sixth movie to go. So there was nowhere else for it to go in terms of just who the movie is for. You know what I mean? And also there was nowhere else for it to go just in terms of just like on an action level. On an action level. There's nowhere else to go. Terminator 2, Terminator 2, I'd never forget, and I'm gonna digress, how exciting. I said one thing that's very hard nowadays to find action films that actually get your adrenaline pumping. Meaning like, if you watch the action, you are literally engaged. Like, oh God, is the guy gonna make it out the car on time? Or like if a guy breaks a guy's arm and you go, ooh, and the whole room moves. Or like if the car flips over, you go, whoa. Action movies don't do that anymore. It's just kind of now just like, you just CGI people and you just kind of just go like, okay. And my eyes can't really keep track of what the hell is going on. And it's just loud and things flying. Loud flying CGI cartoon characters. That's what this has become. When you watch Terminator 2 and Robert Patrick first morphs and you hear that music go, and you can hear it go, and he's transforming. Or like the scene where I give an example. When me and my father went to see Terminator 2, and it comes to the scene where the T-1000 is chasing John Connor through the mall, right? And it's the first confrontation between Arnold and the T-1000 in that back hallway. And the T-1000 just starts unloading that gun where it's like, choo, 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 choo. And Arnold takes the kid, puts him into the broom closet, and Arnold just turns around and just unloads that shotgun. And the music, as Arnold is unloading the shotgun, right, you can hear the music going more and more like, and Robert Patrick is just flying back. Then you get to the scene where when the T-1000, when you first see what this guy can do, right, and his ability to run, right. So when John Connor takes off on that motorcycle and that music goes, and Robert Patrick is just going like this, and he's so focused. I remember as a kid in the theater, my heart was bumping, and the music, and I remember just being in it. I remember my father was next to me, and my father literally was like, whoa. My dad was going like, we were in it. You don't get that visceral feel from action anymore. You can't. It doesn't involve you like that. The last movie that had me amped in the theater, where when the action was happening, I was going like, whoa, that was John Wick 3. I mean, some of the stuff in John Wick 3 was just had me going, oh, old school action, right? That's another problem. You're taking a franchise that is old school from the good old days of practical action storytelling, all of that. You're morphing it into this CGI Avengers type of goofy thing. You can't do that. And I understand you hear all that BS about, oh, we need to make it, we need to repackage it for the new generation. Well, if that's the case, don't make it. Do something for this generation. Don't take something from back then and try to change it into this new thing, because that's not what it is. It doesn't have the same impact. You know? And this box office was a plain sign that they need to stop and make something original. So not only you're talking about not having engaging action, not anywhere for the stories goes, the characters basically being wrapped up, and you just elongating this series that nobody asked for. It's clearly at this point is a cash grab. You add in the woke aspect, Me Too aspect, whatever you want to call it. Plain and simple, y'all. This sensitivity thing has gone way too far. I'm not trying to say that we disrespect one another. I'm not at all condoning disrespect or any kind of discrimination, obviously, against anybody. I'm not condoning that. But I do feel that this has gotten to a point where we're talking about Terminator, killer robots, intense action, sci-fi storytelling. And I do get, like, when you look at movies like Night of the Living Dead and some other movies, how you incorporate the troubles of the day and kind of meld it into this little fictitious story. I understand that. That's not what Terminator Dark Fate is. Terminator Dark Fate, in the messaging that they put in the movie, all the way down to some of the interviews I've seen, they are blatantly trying to cram something down your throat. That's kind of an issue I have with the film, is they're blatantly trying to cram something down your throat. One of the things I look at the chick who's the savior chick, right? So she's kind of got a I'm trying to think what's a good description. Androgynous, is that the right description? She could be a boy, but she could be a girl, but you can't really tell. There's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But my issue is that, you know, you go back to little comments that I've heard the director say, "Oh, we're gonna have." I can't remember. I'm paraphrasing, but something about the women are going to be the strong characters and beat the misogynists or something like that. Something stupid like that. I mean, I find that funny that he says that. I mean, it's Hollywood. I mean, Hollywood is built around misogyny, you know. And on top of that, Sarah Connor was already a strong character. I mean, you already had a strong female character, someone who started out meek in the original film, and she was strong by the end of the film, and she was completely strong the entire second film. So that argument is already just blown out the water. Why are you doing that? It was already done in the first two films, and on top of that, you've already had Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, very strong, convincing female character. You know, and they can relay that message without cramming it directly down your throat. And they can also do it without actually having to look like a boy. They can do it while being long haired and still just long haired. And again, I'm saying that there's nothing wrong with that, but it's so clearly trying to relay a certain message through the way it's done in this film, that's what makes it annoying. If it was more kind of organic and it just kind of came from like character, it wouldn't be so bad, but it just feels like it's so blatantly shoved down your throat. All the way down to the fact that when I've seen the actress do interviews, she's wearing bow ties and wearing tuxedos and stuff like that. And again, and again, and again, and again. There is nothing wrong with that. But to me, it reeks of agenda. And, it, and I just, and look, and listen, if you got a talk show and you want to talk this stuff, that's fine. But I don't think that that stuff has a place in a Terminator movie. It's not wanted. Again, who are you making it for? And then I just, and again, y'all, I'm not saying that I'm not at all saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm not saying it, but I'm simply saying there's a time and a place for that stuff, and the time and the place in that for that is not in a freaking Terminator movie. No. If you want to make your own franchise and incorporate those things, cool. But why you got to put it in a Terminator movie? It's not needed. This is sci-fi action horror. That's all it is. And I just, and as far as people saying, so you got that going against it, and then okay, spoilers. I'm gonna count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, John Connor being killed. Look, it was kind of shocking to me. It kind of caught me off guard. I kind of thought maybe it was a dream, but they kept going with it. Who cares? I mean, really, who cares? It's the 6th movie. It's a 6th movie nobody asked for. John Connor being killed doesn't mean anything. I've heard people say, "Oh my God, they've ruined the franchise. Terminator 2 doesn't matter." No. Terminator 2 does matter, and I'll tell you why. Terminator 2 came out, I believe, if I remember correctly, it was July of 1991. I could be wrong. June or July of 1991 that I remember. I remember seeing, matter of fact, I have an old VHS copy of Total Recall that I got for my birthday. And it's still, and on that VHS tape, it has the teaser for Terminator 2 in front of it. That I remember. I think they're both Kuroko movies from back then, if I remember right. But anyway, Terminator 2 has been around for 30 years, since 1991. Terminator 1 has been around for, it's almost 40 years. These movies are cemented in the pop culture. Or as far as the pop culture, that would be older movie viewers who've been around for 40 plus years and up. So it's fine. Terminator 2 is not destroyed. Nobody is going to remember these other movies. Ever. No one's going to remember 3. I can tell you right now, I don't think, okay, so us older viewers, we already know 1 and 2. We can distinctly know the difference between those two in our heads. Hardcore movie fans. And probably even casual movie viewers who are in their 40s and up. We know the difference. We know it's 1 and 2. Okay? I guarantee you that nobody can distinguish the difference between 3, Salvation, Genesis, or Dark Fate. And even the younger viewers can't distinguish the difference between those sequels. And nobody's ever going to remember them. They are going to forget about these films. I guarantee you, with Terminator Dark Fate bombing at the box office, it's already forgotten about. Nobody's going to remember this film. Nobody's going to remember Genesis, Salvation, or Rise of the Machines. These are forgettable CGI cash grab fests. Nobody's going to remember these movies at all. You're always going to remember Terminator, The Terminator, and Terminator 2. So when people say that the franchise is destroyed, I mean, there ain't no franchise in my mind. There's only 2 movies. And they were done by James Cameron. And people saying all this stuff, oh, James Cameron is a producer on Terminator Dark Fate. This is the Chelsea. Look, guys. Listen. This is Hollywood. This is business. James Cameron's name is on it for the check. He don't care about this movie. This is strictly business, meaning my name is on this flick. They put my name in the ads, and I get the check, and I go home and sleep while somebody else works on this 6th Terminator movie that I don't care about at all. They keep begging me and asking me, so what the heck, I'll sign, put my name on this piece of garbage, pay me, put my name on the posters, pay me, and they'll go write this crap. Doesn't matter, I already got my check. That's James Cameron's involvement in this movie. So people stop saying James Cameron signed off. James Cameron doesn't care. James Cameron is a 70-year-old man or 60 something, whatever. He does not care. He told the story he wanted to tell with 1 and 2. They probably harassed the living hell out of him. So he just said, what the hell? Or he figured, what the heck, if they're going to keep making it, I might as well do it John Carpenter style and just hand me my check while I sit at home and watch basketball. That's all this is, guys. It's just business. I don't blame the man. His kids need a college fund. Go make 10 Terminator movies if you want to. My kids, I'm going to use that Terminator money and put my kids through college. That's all it is, guys. You know, it's nothing in the movie. And look, and I will say this. If you just go and just watch it on a whim, because the only reason I saw the flick was because I just wanted to go to the movies on a Friday night, period. I didn't care about the movie. I didn't expect it to be good. And as a brainless, I don't care what type of movie it is entertaining. But as a true sequel that they're calling it, that's a bunch of BS. It ain't no true sequel, nothing. The true sequel is Terminator 2 to The Terminator. And that is it. That is it. Period. That's it. You know, people complaining about all the stuff with the stories. It doesn't matter at this point. All they're going to do is copy and paste. And there's exact scenes, like when the evil Terminator guy comes to the door, Robert Patrick comes to the door in Terminator 2, and it's just exact replicas of scenes we've already seen. The chase is a copy of the chase from Terminator 2 and the water duct. I mean, it's just all imitation stuff, and you're taking out the practical element and you're just adding in CGI where the protector chick does like a backflip, does this little cute little backflip. And look, in Terminator 2, they didn't even have to do that. At the end of the movie, in Terminator 2, there's a part where a helicopter flies under a bridge, and they did it in real life. James Cameron was nuts enough to get a stunt flyer to fly a helicopter under a bridge in real life. You can't top that. So it doesn't matter if this Jeep falls off a CGI waterfall, which looks fake, might I add, and all the helicopters that they're flying in the movie are fake. Those aren't even real. I mean, you would think that 30 years later, they could actually just go and put the actors in a damn helicopter, or at least take a fake helicopter and the close-ups, do the shaky thing, and then shoot some wide angles of a real helicopter. They don't even want to do that. CGI. Doesn't feel real. Doesn't feel visceral. It feels garbage. Even there's scenes in Terminator 2 where when Robert Patrick, when he morphs and a knife is on his arm, it's obviously it's not a real knife, but it is a piece of plastic that looks like a knife. When he's got the guy pinned up against the wall, that's an actual like rubber appliance in that actor's mouth when he pulls it out. Done in camera. I mean, I understand it's harder, it takes longer to do things like that, but what the heck? And the other thing that people are talking about is the budget for this movie is $180 million? Who okayed that? Terminator, the franchise is not this big, people flying through the air stuff. It's more in tune in terms of action. It's more in tune with something like the John Wick movies. It's practical. It's tight. It's real. You know, with the special effects woven throughout, but it's mostly real practical action. CGI waterfalls, and Arnold throws the guy into a CGI propeller, and it's just like, what are you doing? You know, I think if they were going to make this film, I think the smartest thing would have been to lower the budget. And I'm saying drop the budget down to, I mean, I would say lower it down to even maybe like 70 million. They would never go that low, but maybe lower it down to 70 million. Go that low. Take it back down to its roots. Down and dirty, visceral. That would be the best bet. But they just went high. I don't even know who. I'm not even a business person in Hollywood. I just when you just look at what happened with Genesis and Salvation, it just doesn't even make logical sense that they would okay a budget that high for this movie. And and poor Linda Hamilton. I love Linda Hamilton. I love her way back when she did the Beauty and the Beast show when I was a kid with the Beast and the Swords. Fantastic show. It's the entire series is on Amazon Prime. I got to catch up with it. But I've always had a crush on her. I just always think she's a wonderful actress, and she's a complete chameleon. She can be very threatening and very scary, and then she could do Beauty and the Beast and be very sweet. She's an excellent actress, and I do like her in this film. I've heard some people say that she's playing tough, but no, Linda Hamilton. It pissed me off what they did with her character, how she ended up being second fiddle. But I will say on the scenes where Linda Hamilton is kind of she has those blue eyes, and she kind of has that gaze, and she's an older woman, so you can just see the life in her face, and she goes, I've seen a lot of people die. You believe it. You believe it. You believe it. And that scene pissed me off with the new Terminator chick like him, Linda Hamilton up against her. That just pissed me off, man. I don't like when they do things like that, man. And I understand they're like, oh, we need to create conflict between the characters. It's like, it's disrespectful for the filmmakers to do that with characters. If you bring back these characters, you're trying to bring in us older viewers, and then you disrespect the characters that we love. I mean, I think there's a reverence you should have to your characters in the movie, and when you do them the way Linda Hamilton was done in this movie, it just really pisses me off. It just makes for a not fun movie experience, because if you're bringing her back to bring me in, have her do some stuff, and she does do some things, but to have her hemmed up like that, it just pissed me off. And Arnold, I don't care about anything Arnold does. Really, I don't. I just don't. My love for Arnold Schwarzenegger stems from everything he did in the 80s when I was a child. And true Arnold Schwarzenegger to me is my memory of everything he did in the 80s when I was a kid. I'd probably say, to me, true Schwarzenegger ended in True Lies. Everything after that is just trash. It's just trash. I mean, there's a couple of okay things. End of Days is dumb, brainless fun. Eraser, I don't really like. Jingle All the Way has kind of grown on me a little bit. Batman and Robin, less said the better. But true Schwarzenegger, true pinnacle Arnold Schwarzenegger. His last great film was True Lies. That was where it ended with James Cameron. And I think True Lies is James Cameron's, before Avatar, I think is one of his weakest films from that time period to me. But that's true Arnold. I don't care about anything else he does. His acting has gotten better and better as he's gotten older, but I don't care. What they do with his character in the movie, it's stupid. It doesn't mean anything. They were just trying to figure out a way to shoehorn him into the movie with this new stuff. The whole movie to me just felt like, who cares? I wasn't trying to follow it. I didn't care to follow it. All the twists and turns. The second John Connor got killed, I just said, oh, this is the kitchen sink. When I saw Linda Hamilton in the previews and I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger open the door with his old man beard, I was just like, oh, this is just the kitchen sink. They're just throwing anything to the wall and making it stick. So, I don't care. So I will slightly compliment the movie a little bit. I will say I thought Linda Hamilton was good. I thought the actress who played the good Terminator chick, she was very good. I really liked her, and I liked the way she played the role. She was good. And the guy who played the evil Terminator, he was good. And I actually really liked the music to the movie. I really liked the music. And some of the action sequences were okay. Like, it was kind of cool, like, seeing Linda Hamilton just, like, I don't know, is that an M16? I could be wrong. I don't know my weapons. But the one where her and Arnold on the back of the airplane firing side by side, that was pretty cool. But, those are just my opinions on why this thing bombed. You have an older franchise that you're trying to bring in the old and the new, and you mix in all these messages with this agenda that nobody asked for, along with a sequel nobody asked for, and you're trying to force messaging upon a genre that doesn't call for it. I mean, it was just, well, it went to sci-fi. I mean, I guess I suppose it could, but if it wasn't so in your face and so just blatantly kind of showed contempt for its audience, the core audience who are going to see this movie. I kind of almost feel like the movie is blatantly saying you're wrong, and it's almost like when you're in it, you walk into a store, you just get accused of stealing, and you're like, oh, you talking about? I didn't steal anything. What did I do? You know what I mean? That's I kind of feel the movie is like almost doing that. So those are my opinions on why I ultimately think Terminator Dark Fate tanked. And to be honest, I hope this is the end and they just lay it to rest. Just stop. Uh, just don't make any more of these, please. Just please stop. So that was my very long-winded opinion on why Terminator Dark Fate bombed. Look, I want to say I'm sorry. If I might have said some things in there that were offensive to anybody, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be offensive. That was just my opinion on I think how the film I think was showing contempt for the audience that grew up with these films, and I feel the movie was being accusatory. I felt, and that's just an opinion. I don't have anything against anybody. I'm just saying Terminator movie doesn't call for it. So RMJ movie reviews. You guys can thumbs up the video, hit the bell when I make more videos, and leave comments down below. And again, I wasn't trying to offend anybody. It's just my opinion. I'll see you also.